The storm had raged all night, but nothing prepared Marcus for the storm waiting inside his own home. When he opened his eyes to the soft morning light spilling through the curtains, his heartbeat slammed against his ribs, because standing at the foot of his bed, dressed in his oversized black t-shirt, her wet designer suit draped over a chair, was the woman whose face appeared on business magazines, billboards, and financial headlines. A woman who, last night, had nearly collapsed on the sidewalk right outside his house. A woman the world called impenetrable, untouchable, unstoppable. And now, she stood in his room, barefoot, hair slightly damp, looking at him with an expression he had never seen on any CEO, vulnerable. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of unexpected encounters, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heart Tale before we dive deeper into this emotional journey. Marcus Thompson, a 34-year-old single father, had lived a life built on quiet resilience. His world revolved around his 6-year-old daughter, Mia, who had more questions than he had answers and more hope than he had strength. After losing his wife 3 years earlier, he learned to stitch together broken routines and build stability from scratch. Every day began before sunrise, packing lunches, working double shifts as a delivery driver, and returning home to a tiny one-bedroom neighborhood house that held more love than space. He rarely had time for rest, and even less time for surprises. But fate does not ask permission, and last night, fate had knocked on his door during the storm. He remembered the scene vividly, Mia tugging at his sleeve, pointing through the rain-splattered window at a woman hunched by the fence, clutching her arm. Marcus had rushed out without an umbrella, guided only by instinct and concern. The woman had been shivering uncontrollably, her driver nowhere in sight, her phone dead, her designer heels sinking into the mud. He had barely recognized her through the rain until she said her name. Eleanor Hale. The youngest tech CEO in the country. The billionaire known for building empires and demolishing competitors. She looked nothing like the iron-willed figure from television. She looked lost, exhausted, and hurt. And Marcus, unable to leave anyone suffering, not even someone so far from his world, brought her inside. He tended to her sprained ankle, gave her a warm blanket, offered her tea, and let her occupy his bed while he slept lightly on the couch beside Mia. He assumed she would be gone by morning, slipped away into her world of boardrooms and private jets. Instead, she stood there, in his shirt, watching him with an unreadable gaze. As he sat up, confusion clouding his mind, the sunrise lit the room, revealing the stark contrast between their worlds. Her polished business strength softened by borrowed simplicity, and his rugged everyday struggle illuminated by her unexpected presence. She cleared her throat, a sound small yet trembling, and said the words that rooted him to the bed, unable to breathe. She thanked him, not with polite distance, but with a crack in her voice, because no one had shown her kindness without expecting something in return in years. She told him that his tiny home felt warmer than her entire penthouse. She admitted that she had run last night, not from danger, but from herself, from a life that demanded perfection but offered no peace. And she said seeing him care for his daughter with such gentle dedication reminded her of something she thought she had lost long ago, the belief that simple, good people still existed in the world. Marcus listened in stunned silence, feeling the weight of her words settle into the quiet morning air. He had never imagined that someone like her could break down. Her life looked polished from the outside, but now he could see the fractures beneath the surface. She asked if she could stay a little longer, not as a CEO, not as someone important, but as a human being in need of rest. Marcus hesitated, unsure why the idea made his chest ache in a way that felt both terrifying and warm. Mia, however, made the decision for him. She peeked into the bedroom with sleepy eyes, saw Eleanor, and happily asked if the pretty lady wanted pancakes. That morning shifted something deep in all of them. Eleanor sat at the small kitchen table, wearing Marcus's oversized shirt and a soft smile that surprised even her. She watched Marcus flip pancakes while Mia chattered about school, and she felt an unfamiliar comfort settle over her heart. She had spent her entire life climbing, pushing, and proving, yet this small home filled with love made her feel more grounded than any success ever had. As the day passed, she opened up about pressures, lonely victories, and constant expectations. Marcus shared stories of fatherhood, loss, and rebuilding. Their conversations flowed with surprising ease, their laughter light but their confessions heavy with truth. What began as an accident turned into an unexpected connection, one that neither of them knew they needed but both felt deeply. But all peaceful moments come with shadows. By evening, reality intruded. Eleanor's company had been searching for her. Paparazzi were already circling the area. Her team wanted explanations. Marcus was thrust into attention he never asked for. Eleanor saw the worry in his eyes, the fear of how her world could swallow his. And so she made a choice that left him frozen a second time. She told him she didn't want this to be the last time they met. She told him she wanted to see him again, properly, without chaos, without fear, without the storm. She said he showed her a truth she didn't want to forget, and she wasn't willing to walk away from it. He didn't know how to respond. Their worlds were too different, their realities too far apart. But when she gently held his hand and promised she would find a way, because for once she wanted something real, something human, he felt a fragile spark of hope flicker alive. Days later, when she returned, without cameras, without an entourage, just herself, Marcus understood that sometimes unexpected moments are not accidents but turning points. Moments that rebuild exhausted hearts, moments that begin new chapters instead of ending them. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heart Tales so more people can experience stories filled with emotion, hope, and second chances. Before we end, comment below what moment moved you the most. Your words make these stories even more meaningful. And with that, this chapter closes, but their story, like all unexpected connections born from kindness, was only beginning.